So, welcome everybody to the first in our series of podcasts with Steve, the trademark guy. Steve is going to be going through exactly what you think he's going to be talking about. He's going to be talking about the importance of your trademark for your business. The series is going to cover why this is important for new businesses, why you need to renew it, and also if you're selling your business well, why it's important. So Steve has got a font of knowledge and a team who work with him. He works with all size businesses, and your business doesn't have to be brand new. Your trademark, I think, you can have your business for a while, is that right? And then you can trademark it. It's not a case of, we've started, we'll just carry on and we won't bother trademarking. And I'm sure Steve is going to go through with you the repercussions of what can happen if your business isn't trademarked. So you think, I'm just going to not bother doing it. So I'll start talking and I'll hand over to the expert.
Thanks, Sam. It's great to be with you today, and hopefully you can help a few people out, both from a building value point of view, but also avoiding problems point of view as well. Mm-hmm. So I guess you will start at the start of a business journey. A founder has a great idea. They want to launch a new business. They want to get a brand built behind that, something that people can buy into, that has credibility and reputation. But first and foremost, do they know if somebody else out there has that brand already or something similar, especially one in the same industry or a similar industry to the one they operate in? So how do they find that out? Well, most people will go on Google and do a bit of a search, maybe go on social media. If they can't find something that puts them off, then they might go ahead with that and they'll register their name at Companies House, for example, for a limited company, and they'll start buying domains up. So this is all normal behavior for a founder. Mm-hmm. The problem is a lot of people don't realize that they don't actually have the right to use any of those names, regardless of having domains or having a Companies House registration. The only way you get to own your name outright for the brand is actually registering the trademark.
Okay. Can I ask a question? So say I want to say the directorschoice.com, for example. So if I put that into Companies House and a domain, it would at no point flag up to me to say this belongs to somebody else. So I'd be totally unaware and I could set everything up and it doesn't get flagged up at any point. No,
exactly that. People assume that Companies House is the de facto checker of names. All that happens there is if you've got one letter or one punctuation mark different to what's already in the database, it'll be an automatic acceptance. There's no human being behind there looking at these names to see if they're okay. Plus, people often put like regional location names into their company registration to make it different to what's already there. That doesn't have any bearing on the brand protection or the right to use the brand name at all. So that's a big myth that occurs. So the only way to check whether a name is available for use without any problems later down the line is actually to do a trademark search, which we would do for a client, alongside all the other stuff that they might do themselves, such as the social media and the domain research. And then we would produce a report to give them either the all clear, the green light, great, go ahead. Or we would say, maybe think about these considerations. There's a few similarities there, but probably be okay. Or in the worst case, and least often this happens, is we say, it's not gonna go ahead because it's just not worth the headache. If they don't do that and they just go ahead willy-nilly, the implications can be at best a nasty letter in the post from somebody who's telling you, you're using my name without permission. And that comes maybe a week later, great, because then you can change your name, not invested too much time and energy into it. The worst case scenario is you get sued for 10% of your profits because you've been using a name for a long time, a few years maybe, and that owner of that name wants paying for it in backdated license fees. So that's a real implication for startup founders.
Okay, so again, say I've had and obviously, most startups aren't going to have made a huge amount in the first year, but I'm a year in and I'm just watching this podcast now and I'm like, okay, I need to check. And my name, the directorschoice.com has already been trademarked by somebody else, what then happens? Do I then have to, I've obviously got to change my name, but do I have to alert anybody, or is it just a case that you have to wait for them to realize that you've got the same name as them and you've been working under that name, and then you have to pay 10% of your profits over?
Yeah, I mean, there's no black and white with this. It's just what comes out of the wash, really. If somebody would be pacified by just knowing that that you've changed that name from the director's choice to the director's option, for example, then that's fine. You can move on with your life and get on with business. But it's not always the case that, and this can be, it can be as long as a piece of string, how important people view it. But if you're an established business with 10 years of goodwill and reputation and a large client base, you're going to be pretty annoyed that somebody's using that goodwill to earn off you. So you're probably more likely to go after them for financial compensation as well. That's one side of it. The other side is, let's say the startup gets really successful and they've grown quickly in the first few years, and they become the victim of infringements, not the infringer themselves, but somebody else sees their brand and goes, oh, I'll have a bit of that. Start an Instagram page off, or start a very similar domain title, so the directorschoice.co.uk, for example. Then they're going to benefit from all that hard work that startup founders put in, and the return on investment they're getting from their hard work and sweat and tears. So you don't want that to happen either, because then you could have customer complaints saying, oh, I went to this company, they didn't do a good job, and we thought it was you. Blah blah blah. So it can be a pain from both sides.
Okay. And do you have sort of like a checklist for a startup or anything of what they need to do with regards to finding a name, forming a name? Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, the first thing I would say to people is, before you spend any money on domain purchases and branding and livery and all the things that we want to push out to market our brands, is just consult with somebody like us. There is the IPO, Intellectual Property Office, which is the government department that handles trademark applications. They have got a search tool as well, which allows people to search for similar names, but it isn't the easiest site to use, and if you're not knowing what you're looking for, then you can miss things. But the information is there, and with some time and some learning, you can get the answers you need. But for relatively low cost, we can do that search for you, and that would obviously give you a bit more confidence in what you're doing. But in terms of other things to check, obviously the social media is huge. Handles can be quite easily copied with just a hyphen or a full stop or an exclamation mark. So see what's out there, because you don't want to be competing with people from day one. One of the things that is becoming more and more prominent now is, especially with e-commerce businesses who are starting off maybe in the UK, but then getting customers overseas quite quickly, is it's not just about protecting yourself in this territory. If you're going to sell to the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, EU, then it's worth doing a check on all those locations too, as a future proofing exercise. So once again, that can be more complicated and take more time. But it's worth doing it before you go live, because then you know that you're safe to do so. Great.
Well, some very good tips there. I think, like you've just said, people can do it themselves, but as business owners, you want to concentrate on what you enjoy doing, and I'm pretty sure lots of people wouldn't enjoy doing that search on the IPO and spending time. And also, like you said, because they're not experts in it, they could potentially miss something which could be catastrophic, rather than paying an expert like yourself to do the job properly and have that peace of mind moving forward. So that was a great first podcast. I'm looking forward to the next one. If you would like to speak to Steve some more, you can find him on the legal area of the directorschoice.com, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions around trademarking, and he's also on LinkedIn as well. So thank you very much, and we will see you for the next one soon.
Cheers, Sam.